Hi, good evening.
Hi, Kim.
Hi,
Now,
Ash.
Kim,
Hi, James.
the government. Oh, she's being very nice to you. Why would anybody be very nice to you? Anyway,
That's
sorry, Kim.
quite
Um,
often.
the government's got a bit of a PR disaster going on here with Dominic Cummings, who I think is just coming across as an horrible piece of work, to be honest. So I think they'll probably do okay from it. But if you were advising the government, what would you advise them as far as damage control is concerned?
Well, that's a great question. They definitely have a bit of a problem on their hands at the moment. But I think what I would advise them is there's three parts to the advice. First is you have two approaches. You can either bury your head in the sand and hope it all goes away, or you can come out and meet it and go, yes, we agree. There was a problem. Nobody was perfect in this entire thing. We did the best that we could. The second part is saying how you're going to learn and adapt and change and make those changes. And the third part is showing that you actually are implementing that, taking that action to go ahead and move forward to make those changes so that it never happens again, and actually following up on that and showing the proof and the evidence of something like that. So,
Which is already happening with the vaccine.
Yeah, it's partly happening with the vaccine. I think for the third action there, I think the real thing that needs to happen is to move this inquiry up. I think it's a bit of a mistake to leave it to 2022. I think they don't have to finish it this year, but they should certainly start it, because it's definitely not helping them to say, let's put it off until next year when things settle down. You don't know that things will settle down. You don't know that this will ever come to an end. We hope so, but we don't know for sure.
All right, let's play a game, Kim. I am the Prime Minister, and I think it was pretty believable, really. I'm the Prime Minister, so you've come to me and discussed that. And my suggestion is, no, I'm not going to say we're going to learn lessons, because I hate it when politicians say that. I'm not actually going to acknowledge much of what Dominic Cummings is going to say, but I am going to make a statement about how well we're doing. It has been a very difficult situation. This has never happened before. Nobody was quite sure what they're doing. We are doing the best we can, and we hope that the country will stick behind us. But I wouldn't mention him and any of the things he said at all, because it gives him some kind of credibility.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's already being shown from the government at the moment. Their response to this so far has been, we're not even going to give him clout. We don't need to necessarily respond to everything that he says, that Dominic Cummings says. And so they are kind of taking that approach already. We're not going to give this any more oxygen than we need to. That's fine, but then you're taking a risk of letting him control the publicity that goes around this. As you can see, he's dominating the headlines tonight. So he is the one who's come out ahead of this and is controlling the narrative.
Yeah, but I think he looks bad. I think he looks bad. I think to the public, he looks like the guy who's bitter, and I don't think he's helping himself. I think he's helping Boris, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's for people to decide which way they feel about that. But, he does have very low ratings. Only 14% of people believe anything that he has to say. So
Cummings, that is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he doesn't necessarily have a lot of clout, but there's enough there that people are going, well, hold on a second. Even if it puts a little bit of doubt in people's mind, it is sowing certain seeds, and it is allowing him to control the narrative.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they're listening to us and learning that maybe what he's saying is a load of rubbish, and they perhaps should not take too much notice of it, because most of the things he said is his opinion of a situation. And, going on, well, I told the Prime Minister to sack Matt Hancock over and over again. Well, it's not your place, mate, to be quite honest, and it's up to the Prime Minister. And then he goes on and says, well, he's not a very bright bloke, and he shouldn't have been in a job like that, and he's never really achieved anything. At that point, I'd have thrown him out.
He was arrogant,
and I'd have thrown his bag out after him as well.
He was saying, I should have pulled the trigger at that point, like he was the Prime Minister. He was sort of saying that, wasn't he?
I find him, I've never had any thought about him before, but I find him quite a disgusting individual now.
Well, I mean, there's definitely two strands to what happened today. There is the gossipy, throwing mud, gossipy, like I said, personal vendetta that is going on. And then there is potentially some weighted facts that need to be explored with an inquiry. and need to be determined whether those things are true or false. And those are not for me, or, you know, those are for the independent folks that come in to decide that. But, you know, there are two sides of it. And if you can separate them away, then you can start dealing with what are potentially facts versus what is just a man on a rampage.
But they won't be able to start an inquiry until next year, because an inquiry to be set up takes an enormous amount of time. They have to sort of audition the people who are going to be in charge of the inquiry, find out the parameters of the inquiry. I'm not even sure inquiries are worth. It
just ends with lessons will be learned, and I think you're right. I think the public don't care about inquiries. They'll be interested in it, but really the public care about the position we're in now, which is a good one.
Now, Kim, I detect an American or maybe Canadian accent. I'm not sure, but
New Yorker.
Are you in? A New Yorker. I didn't like to be as presumptuous, but are you in New York now or not?
No, I'm here in London, and I've been here for the past 17 years. I love living in the UK, and so I'm happy to be here. But I am following.
Very glad to have you here. But
thank you.
You know, I mean, aren't you, Ash, as well?
I'm very much. I mean, we can't move to New York. It's not really fair.
Well, who want to move to New York? It's a bit, you know,
a couple of months. Quite nice.
I'm quite happy in London. I don't want to go to New York, really.
Well, we love a British accent.
That's true.
I'm quite often told by Americans, I don't know why you speak like that, but that's fine. Just talking about the situation with Trump for a moment, because we used to love Trump, didn't we? We just had a laugh.
He's coming back.
Trump.
I think he's coming back, actually.
Do you?
Yeah.
And Biden just is so boring and so dull and so old.
You should speak to Pastor Burns about that. I think he thinks he's coming back as well.
Yeah.
Old Trump.
But do you think that Trump's PR and the way that they handled it let him down a little bit at the end, or do you think he didn't need PR? He just did it all himself.
That is a loaded question. Trump is very much.
You're not. Are you
PR
working
machine.
For him? You don't have to answer.
No, I'm not working for him. I think that he is a PR machine unto himself. I don't think that anybody tells Donald Trump what to do or how to do it. And in many ways that has worked for him, and in many ways it has not worked for him. And I don't think he would care at all what my advice would be, one way or another.
No, I must admit, I do like somebody who really doesn't care too much. I don't think Boris is going to care too much about this. I hope not. Yeah. He has changed his hairstyle today.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
You saw PMQs. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I did not notice the hairstyle.
It's almost a normal haircut.
Yeah, almost.
Maybe the wind has blown it down.
Not quite.
Yeah, you never know. Do you think Trump will come back or not?
I think he has too many legal troubles to actually ever really officially come back. I think he's got his hands full, and I think there'll be too much controversy, and it'll divide the Republican Party. I think in the short term, the Republican Party's hoping to use him to bring and unite his base together. But I think him losing his voice on social media and, as things diminish, I just think his presence will eventually diminish.
But that has to be addressed, doesn't it? I mean, social media should not have the ability to cut somebody off, because who runs social media? A bunch of spotty kids on the East Coast. And so social media is... Sorry?
I was just going to say, it's a private business, so it's not for the government in the States to say how the private business, who they censor and who they don't.
But if they have a monopoly, they should get involved, or an oligopoly, shouldn't they?
Yeah, but I don't think social media can be run by private companies anymore, because we all rely on it. And you have individuals who are not elected by anyone deciding on what should be and what shouldn't be. Interesting point. We need to do a show on that, Ash.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it is an interesting point. And I think, again, laws are a bit different in America, and how we do things in the States is a bit different. But the idea being, if it's your business, if you want to say that everybody has to dress up like a chicken to come onto your platform, then everybody has to dress up like a chicken to come onto your platform. It's your platform.
It's a good idea.
You get to make the rules. Yeah, you get to make the rules. You get to say what goes and what doesn't go. And it's your prerogative. It's not censorship. Censorship is when the media, it's public media, it's a totally different thing.